Kalief Browder's story is one of tragedy and resilience. His life, marked by wrongful imprisonment, harsh conditions, and ultimately, an untimely death, has become a symbol of the failings within the American criminal justice system. Welcome to The Story Keeper, where we explore real stories that matter. If you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more in-depth stories. Kalief Browder was born on May 25, 1993, in the Bronx, New York. He was raised in a family that struggled with poverty and the challenges of urban life. By all accounts, Kalief was a bright and ambitious young man. But in 2010, his life would take a tragic turn. At the age of 16, Kalief was arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack. The accusation came from a man who claimed Kalief had stolen his property. However, Kalief maintained his innocence from the very beginning and that he had no involvement in the theft. What followed was a nightmare. Kalief was arrested, and he was unable to afford bail, which meant he was held in detention while awaiting trial. This was the start of a journey that would span 3 years, forever altering the course of his life. Kalief was sent to Rikers Island, one of the most notorious and overcrowded jails in the United States. While awaiting trial, Kalief endured brutal conditions that no young person should ever experience. Rikers Island is known for its violence, overcrowding, and harsh treatment of inmates. But Kalief's ordeal was far worse than most. He spent nearly 2 years in solitary confinement, locked in a small cell for 23 hours a day, with little human interaction. In interviews after his release, Kalief described the deep psychological toll that being in solitary confinement took on him. His time at Rikers Island, especially in isolation, led to severe depression, anxiety, and emotional trauma. Yet, despite his suffering, he remained adamant that he was innocent and that he would eventually prove it. While at Rikers, Kalief's case was delayed repeatedly. He never received a proper trial, and the case against him seemed to fall apart. Despite being held in detention for years, the prosecution failed to bring any concrete evidence that Kalief had committed the crime. His legal team, as well as activists, began to speak out about the injustices Kalief was facing. In 2013, after 3 years of being locked up, the charges against Kalief were finally dropped. However, this victory came too late. The damage had already been done. Kalief's health had deteriorated both mentally and physically, and his life would never be the same. After his release, Kalief's story became one of the most talked about cases in America. He became a symbol of the unjust practices within the criminal justice system, especially in relation to the treatment of young black men, pretrial detention, and the overuse of solitary confinement. But Kalief's reintegration into society wasn't easy. He struggled with the trauma he had endured in prison. His battle with depression became public, and he was vocal about the psychological scars he carried from his time in detention. While he tried to move forward, the emotional toll was too much to bear. In 2015, just 2 years after his release, Kalief Browder tragically died by suicide at the age of 22. His death sent shockwaves through the country and served as a stark reminder of the long-lasting impact of wrongful imprisonment. Kalief's story didn't end with his death. His tragic fate became a rallying cry for those advocating for criminal justice reform. His story highlighted the flaws in the system that led to his wrongful imprisonment. It brought attention to the use of solitary confinement, the broken bail system, and the lengthy pretrial detention that many individuals face. In the wake of his death, several reforms were proposed, including changes to New York City solitary confinement practices, particularly for young people. Kalief Browder's life and death have become a tragic symbol of the injustices faced by countless individuals within the American criminal justice system. His story continues to inspire advocacy for reform and remains a reminder of the devastating consequences of a system that failed him. Thank you for watching this deeply impactful look into the life of Kalief Browder. If you feel moved by his story, please share this video to help raise awareness about the need for criminal justice reform. Let's continue to honor Kalief's memory by pushing for a system that values fairness and humanity for all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation.